Saeed says, I can't distinguish pronunciation difference between dull and doll, dog and Doug, and all of them, any advice, all of them in general, any advice. So this is an interesting question because it helps us focus on vowels, and he could have given other examples here, but we should take a minute to focus on vowels. So vowel sound, A, E, I, O, and U, but the A, E, I, O, and U, they make different sounds. The long sound is A, E, I, O, U. The short sound is A, E, A, U, I. Yeah, A. English teacher Luke. Remember, I just forgot the order, right? But they make other sounds as well because they might be in combinations. Sometimes these combinations, for example, M-E-A-T, make the long E sound, right? Usually, if you have two vowels together, they make the long sound of the first vowel, M-E-A-T, right? It's not meat, it's meat, E, right? Just like M-E-E-T. Now, the other type is called a diphthong. Now, a diphthong is when we actually have a change in the mouth shape throughout the sound. It's a new sound. For example, V-O-I-D, void, void. Now, notice when I say void, I'm not keeping my mouth in the same shape as I would with right? I'm changing the shape. Oi, void, void. Okay. So that's a diphthong. Sound, ow, ow, found, down. Diphthong, okay? Sometimes it's none of those. Sometimes you have a combination that just sounds like a regular vowel. And that's what Doug is. D-O-U-G is pronounced in exactly the same way as D-U-G. There's no difference in the way it's pronounced. So there all we have to do is make sure we're clear on the difference between the vowel O in its short sound and the vowel U in its short sound. For D-U-L-L, we just have to say, generally speaking, with a slight variation, the short U sound, and then the O sound, clearly. So we're kind of around the same territory. We have to change it a little bit because of the other letters in the words, right? There are slight differences here, so we have to actually say them. But just keep that in mind, that there are some general rules we can apply, but that sometimes the rules don't work, and a vowel sound that is two letters together may just make a simple vowel sound, in the case of D-O-U-G, which is just pronounced Doug. Doug. Okay, so I can't distinguish between D-U-L-L and D-O-L-L. How about this? Dull, 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 dull. Now notice when I say this one that my mouth is not really moving at all. Dull, dull. You might see my teeth moving slightly, but my mouth shape is generally staying the same. Now, is this the same ul, as in, for example, ulcer, as in UL, a UL sound? Right? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Dull, ulcer. What about umbrella? Now, for umbrella, because it's in front of an M and it's the beginning of the word, we might slightly change it and stretch the mouth open a little wider first. Umbrella, umbrella. But because it's between the D and the L, we don't stretch it out so much. We don't open so much. And so the mouth is very fixed. Dull, dull, ulcer, ulcer, ulcer. Umbrella, umbrella, dull. So it's basically the same sound. We're just making a slight variation because of the letters around it. Now, what about D-O-L-L? Dull, dull. Now you might say, wait a second. Wait a second. That sounds a lot like the A sound. For example, in W-A-L-L, dull, wall, dull, wall. That's right. Here we have an overlap where certain O sounds are the same as certain A sounds. One of the short A sounds, for example, in A-L-L is wall, wall, wall. And it's the same thing here with the O sound. It makes the same sound. Dull, dull, dull. If it were the short O sound that we usually think about, it would be, for example, it would be doll, doll, or something like that. It would be ha, ah, it would be an ah, it would be a different sound, right? So there is overlap between the A, the short A and the short O. Sometimes they sound the same, sometimes they sound different, okay? For example, if we say mother, M-O-T-H-E-R, does that sound like an O? That would be mother, right? We should say, why don't we say mother? Why do we say mother? Well, that one is taking the U sound. So you can't be too strict about this. What you have to do is listen carefully and pick out the sound and then copy the sound as best you can. Imitate the sound. And don't worry if, oh, that's strictly an O sound or strictly a U sound or strictly an A sound. There is overlap. B-A-L-L, ball, ball. D-O-L-L, doll, doll. Is there any difference between those? No, not really. M-O-T-H-E-R, mother, mother. D-U-L-L, dull, dull. They're pretty close. They're a little different, but they're pretty close to the U sound, right? What about the others? D-O-U-G and D-O-G. Dog, aw. Now there is a classic short O sound. Aw, 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 aw. The mouth is shaped in the O shape. Dog, aw, dog, 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 dog. The other one is the classic U sound. Classic short U. Like umbrella. Duh, dug, dug, dug. So I like these examples because in the first two, we get to explore these overlaps where words that look like one thing might sound like other things, other vowels. And in the second one, we get this clearly distinct difference between dog and dug. Daw, O shape, aw, and dug, dug, dug. More relaxed U sound, classic U sound. So lots of variation here, lots to explore. It's very important to keep your ears open, be able to notice the difference between them, be able to make the sounds distinctly, practice them 1,000 times until they're habits, and you will sound more natural. Guys, if you haven't already, make sure you hit like, hit the thumbs up, make sure you follow or subscribe, and also check out my courses in the links in the description.